Hi, guys, and welcome to another special episode of Label Breakers, where we help you see yourself as the Creator sees you and get rid of all the negativity that the world has placed on you so that you can live on purpose, in purpose, and with the one who is your purpose. So, tonight we are going to continue with the 12 acts from the book Label Breakers. Finding your identity in a world of labels. So, as I said, this next act, Act 9, which is the act of removal, um, is a little bit longer chapter and a little more intense. This is a very, very important act. The others are leading up to it. This is probably the main act out of the 12 acts. But we are going to talk about that one now. So I'm going to read to you from the book. Here we go. Act 9, the act of removal. The process of removal begins with the action of taking away or abolishing something unwanted. In this case, that refers to your remaining starred and circled labels. Act 9 is going to be a lifelong process. It is going to take hard action on your part. For most of us, these are the labels that have the absolute most power over our hearts, minds, and lives. They may have defined and controlled you from the moment of your birth, like the label of PK, our preacher's kid, for me. I was born into that label. It did and does define me. I could not remove this label as it was put on me from my father and his role in my life. Although I can't remove the label, I can and did remove my negative feelings and emotions and actions surrounding it. I now feel understanding, compassion, and camaraderie with other PKs, and the label brings me joy instead of fear or pain. Likewise, my fat label may not be fully removed from my physical appearance. However, the deliberating negative emotions and actions surrounding my fat label have been removed from my heart, mind, emotions, and actions against this label. I do have to take action against its removal each day, sometimes multiple times a day. Remember, that is why these are called the 12 acts, because they require you to do something. An action, not just a reaction from you, will bring you ultimate control and healing over your labels. Please do not be discouraged by the thought that this act of removal will most likely be a daily thing for many of these remaining labels. They are, after all, the ones that you have allowed to be stuck to you for the majority of your life. You know it is not easy or pleasant to wear these labels each day. Do not be afraid to take daily action against their removal. That action is going to build you up, change your heart, strengthen your mind, and enrich your life in ways that bring freedom, joy, relief, and healing. So let's begin to look at some of the actions that you will need to do each day to remove these labels. I'm sure that you have heard of the power of positive thinking. It's the idea of stopping negative self talk, believing and knowing that we have to be careful with what we allow to put in our hearts and minds. There are three, excuse me, there are three camps that you may find yourself identifying with on this idea of the power of the mind. Maybe you identify with those in the first camp that tend to think it is all a bunch of nonsense. You didn't ask for the hand you were dealt. Your horrible circumstances are not your fault, and no amount of positive thinking is going to get you out of the mess that has become your life. Or maybe you can relate to those in camp too. You think there's some truth to it. You have seen it work for others, but you don't know how to apply it to your life or believe that it will have an effect on you personally. Perhaps you identify with Camp 3. You do believe that there is truth in the power of having a positive mind and have experienced it to some extent, but can't seem to get a full or lasting effect. First, let me assure you there is power in words, for good or bad. You have felt it. We all have. Words carry great power, especially when you add belief to them. Let's take a quick look at what our Creator has to say about it in the following few Bible passages from the NIV version. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Philippians 4:8 says, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." Ephesians 4:23 says, "Be made new in the attitude of your minds." These are just a few of the references that your Creator makes about the power of your thoughts and minds. There are also many ancient and modern day scholars who talk and teach about the power of the mind. The following are a few from some of the more well-known teachers of our day. Tony Robbins. Whatever you hold in your mind on a consistent basis is exactly what you will experience in your life. The truth is that we can learn to condition our minds, bodies, and emotions to link to pain or pleasure, to whatever we choose. By changing what we link, by changing what we link pain or pleasure to, we will instantly change our behavior. Joyce Meyer wrote a book about the battle of the mind. You cannot have a positive life and a negative mind. Positive minds produce positive lives. Negative minds produce negative lives. Positive thoughts are always full of faith and hope. Negative thoughts are always full of fear and doubt. Words are containers for power. You choose what kind of power they carry. Brian Tracy. Never say anything about yourself that you don't want to come true. Ooh, that's pretty powerful. Let's read that again. Never say anything about yourself that you don't want to come true. Whatever you dwell on in the conscious grows in your experience. Norman Vincent Peale. Change your thoughts and change your world. People really become quite remarkable when they start thinking they can do things. When they believe in themselves, they have the first secret of success. Darren Hardy. Your background and circumstances may have influenced who you are, but you are responsible for who you become. In 1985, a psychologist named Michael F. Shire published a groundbreaking study titled Optimism, Coping, and Health: Assessment and Implications of Generalized Outcome Expectancies. He published it in Health Psychology. It is said that after the study, scientists had a method for seriously studying the healing powers of positive thinking. In a more recent article on theatlantic.com, Shire states the following response to his aforementioned study. A lot of research has been done since we first published our first paper. I think it's now safe to say that optimism is clearly associated with better psychological health, as seen through lower levels of expressed mood, anxiety, and general distress. When facing difficult life circumstances, including situations involving recovery from illness and disease, And I think most researchers at this point would agree that optimism is connected to positive physical health outcomes. We also know why optimists do better than pessimists. The answer lies in the difference between the coping strategies they use. Optimists are not simply being Pollyannas. They're problem solvers who try to improve the situation. And if it can't be altered, they're also more likely than pessimists to accept that reality and move on. Pessimists, on the other hand, tend to deny, avoid, and distort the problems they confront and dwell on their negative feelings. It's easy to see why pessimists don't do so well compared to optimists. As you can see, words and labels have power in our lives. This power can be good or bad depending on if they are positive defining words or negative ones. Right now, we are going to focus on removing the negative labels that you no longer want defining you. The first step in removing these labels is to remove them from your vocabulary and your mind. You are no longer allowed to speak or think these defining words about yourself. You may not realize it, but the words that you speak about yourself have more power over you than the words others say about you. Guys, I am going to stop this video for a minute because my puppy is going crazy. Stay tuned. We'll be back live on in just